My leadership style has evolved. There was never any real conscious effort to develop a particular style. And if I look back now, and it's quite interesting looking back on what's been 40 years plus in this industry, and I look at the steps that it took, and each one was a really good opportunity to enhance your skill sets and understand. I mean, this business is about people. It's how do you understand people. I started off as a technician. And as a technician, I understand about coming in whenever you're needed. The animals came first, the customer comes first, doing what's needed to get the job done and working with other people. It's teamwork. How do you get those teams motivated? How do you deal with people who really don't understand what the business is about? How do you get them to understand that? How do you raise their knowledge, treating them as equals, working alongside them? And I've always enjoyed that part of it. And as I've moved up in the organization, and it was a long, slow progress really to get to the top, and I think that also is a good thing. What you're able to do is to relate to people. And I always had one rule, which I share with a lot of people, is that when you're a manager and you want to do something and you want to implement something, as you do that, try and think about how you would have perceived it when you were down in the lower levels and management was presenting it to you. Don't do unto others what you wouldn't have wanted done to yourself. And I think that's a really good mantra to manage by. So my leadership style has really been impacted heavily by the belief that you try and put yourself in someone else's shoes. In addition to that is how would you grow the business? How's the style to grow a business? And as a leader, really, a leader is only a leader because they are supported by a lot of other people. It's very difficult to be a leader on your own. And you do see some instances where leadership becomes very much a one-person scenario. Never really believed in that. I think you're stronger together than you are separately. So what I try to do is to encourage not just at the senior management level, but below a level, a culture where people feel they can contribute, where we talk to them and we explain what we're doing, get feedback and coach them through it, because sometimes big changes are extremely uncomfortable for many people. I think it's listening to people. It's giving people opportunities to sort of be all they can be, which sounds a bit hackneyed, but really it's when we start off in business, we start off with a set of skill sets and beliefs in where we want to go. After 5, 10, 15 years experience, we often think to ourselves, well, I think I'd like a different direction. And if we can get someone into that different direction within the company, we actually double the skill sets. We give a different perspective, and I think it's all about perspective. So when we're sitting there, So when we're sitting down and planning how we're going to grow the business, and a good example is how we recently restructured the whole of Alta Sciences. In about 5 months, or 6 months maybe, from beginning to end, we restructured the whole company. We started with the operations and we said, instead of structuring it around people and hierarchies and span of control, why don't we structure it around what the customer would like to see? How would make a customer feel better about a CRO that is structured a particular way? And that's how we came up with it. And we took 2 people and we divided the operations into 2 halves, and 2 people who've got preclinical and clinical experience take over those 2 pieces, which are mutually dependent on each other. And then we have the rest of the departments and the areas all reporting in, but linking in with those people. So we form like almost like an autonomous unit that functions working across the organization. I also think a leadership style has to be, in our business, customer service, where customers are all different. Customer service, you have to have a lot of flexibility. And the old hierarchy, where you want to get something done, you go up there, you go up to the top of one department, it goes across another department, goes down and back again, doesn't make sense. Studies work across the hierarchies. So you've got to build the bridges where managers and staff are comfortable working across and not working within a siloed hierarchy. So that really is what's interesting. That's kind of attracted the sort of people and grown the sort of people that respond well to that sort of environment. It's somewhat grey area, operating in areas of uncertainty, but if people can do that, we can do an awful lot more. So the current structure, which is now changed, is mirrored around a number of departments mirror the overall structure in the main operation, where we've taken the two key areas, which are the clinics and our preclinical site, and other sites as we acquire them. Put those under one operations manager who has both clinical and preclinical experience. So for a client, when we're presenting to the client that we can take your drug from the time that you select your lead candidate right the way through to your proof of concept, that means preclinical into clinical. So if we're saying to the client, well, we're going to take that through in one program management, we're going to move it through seamlessly, we're going to reduce time, reduce duplication. We have a structure that says that's how it works, because all of those pieces are under one manager. If we look at the other large part of the company, which we call the research services, that's all the pieces that are needed to support a study to get a report out to the client. They're also under one manager. So what you get. So what you're getting, what from the client's viewpoint, they're getting consistency, because you're seeing the same group is taking it through the preclinical studies, the clinical studies, and any other studies that we do that are needed. So that at the end, you get one single coordinated set of data covering everything that's needed to submit your drug to the regulators. So